Okay, so as we letter the locomotive, we'll first start with the yellow and blue paint brick. And as I often say, look for where the paint breaks on the engine itself, which you can see it breaks right under the cab. And then it breaks kind of right in the middle. There's a diagonal line going right up the middle of this, the air filter box. And probably would have been just as well to have done the back diagonal first, but because usually whenever there's a diagonal in two places, a lot of times it's the same slope of diagonal. You can, if it's close, it usually doesn't matter. If for instance, if it's in exactly one place and exactly one place, and it's not the exact same thing, it's, as long as it's close, it's probably fine. And then while we're at it, why don't we just put the hint of the 2004 in the number boards. Those kinds of things. Sometimes it's just as well to do it in the beginning for two reasons. One, you kind of sometimes forget to do it when you're done. And two, while you're fresh compared to when you're tired, doing little tiny details like that is just as well when you're very fresh, because later on your eyes kind of start to get a little bit tired. Okay, so kind of putting in the guidelines where the 2004 goes, and then the word Alaska, the letters go about right here, and goes a little bit above the step. And what it is, the slope of this is basically the exact same slope of the letter A, which makes sense because you wouldn't want that slope and then the A to be totally at different slopes with each other. That kind of stuff, if you start really seeing that, your lettering starts to really get and that's why it is kind of good to be doing this stuff by hand, and because if you have just a font on a computer and you work it out, even if you did, make sure that if you were to type that out or something, make the angle of that match that font, because it's that's definitely a part of design is the slope of the letter and the slope of the okay. Now, one of the things I've said several times is you don't want to run out of room when you letter. It's better to be a little bit short than a little. Okay, so the capital A goes to right about here. And then pretty much the rest of these letters are almost the same size. Not totally, but okay, there's 5 other letters. And 3 inches. So they're right about half an inch. Not quite. base of that A should even go a little bit lower. And the word Alaska has a lot of A's. Once you make the top of the word, should and the nice thing is, this is actually a fairly basic, it's not totally basic, but it's a fairly basic paint scheme. I agree, it's pretty challenging in this sense, but the nice thing about it is it has nice big letters compared to some paint schemes that have little tiny letters and little symbols and stuff. Yet at the same time, it's actually it's very boldly got nice bold yellow and blue. And put the 2004, which, as I always say, let's start with the 2 zeros. Now the zeros are kind of almost these kind of squarish ovals. And the 4 has kind of these little arms kind of coming off of it. There we go. And you kind of want to put these 2 basic half circles. Maybe a little bit of detail. That's the Alaska Railroad symbol. And then put the 2004 here. And then the 2004 goes right above this grab iron. The second grab iron. And then there's actually a kind of a safety thing. And okay, we've got it lettered.